Hi there. How are you doing tonight? It's going to be episode 4. Episode 4. How did that happen already? I've got all of March booked. I can't even believe it. Hi, Aunt Susie. Hi, Laura. Tanya, Ashley, what's up, everyone? So, something really cool happened earlier this afternoon. I got the submission approval from Apple Podcasts, so I get to be a real podcast now. And I'm really excited about that, but then I realized afterwards how difficult all of this technical stuff is. And I wasn't necessarily ready for that, but whatever. Sometimes you do things that make your brain hurt, and it just so happens that setting up a podcast kind of makes my brain hurt. So, who knew? But this part is fun. This is what I'm doing it for, is hanging out with all of you. And we're waiting on Al Robinson right now. She is an outstanding photographer, and I am so excited to share her with all of you because, I couldn't love Al anymore. We used to work together. We sat, I think maybe, Dave, chime in, 8 feet from each other? What do you think? But, it was always a good time. 'Cause she late. Yes. She loves you too, Ashley. We were talking about you and all of your good times. There's Maddie. Let's see. What is this? Can I invite her? Al, get your cute butt in here. Text me. There we go. Did that work? I don't know what I did. If I lost you, I apologize. Just wait on Al. How's everybody doing tonight? Chris, what's up, brother? There's Al. There's my sweet Al. Let's see. Yes. Oh, yeah. Here we go.
That's right. Did I do it right?
Al, you did it right.
Yay.
Dude, nice
Oh my God.
vibes. I like
What's
it.
going on?
Oh, just hanging out.
Yeah. Sorry, dude, I locked myself out of my apartment like 10 minutes ago. I went to take George out so he wouldn't have to pee like in the middle of this, and I just like completely left my keys and like walked downstairs. And then he was being really difficult about it because it's raining and he doesn't want to pee right now. And I was like, oh, fuck me. Don't have my keys. And so luckily everyone in my apartment building has a dog. So there was someone walking their dog and like 5 minutes later they came up, but I was like, it would be like my luck that I just would miss this completely because I locked myself out of my apartment.
In all fairness, you are a new mom. Like, it's not easy for anyone. Being a new dog mom is not easy. Dogs are a lot of work, especially puppies.
Yeah, man, he's a lot. He's right here. Say hi.
Hi, George.
Hi, Bobo. You're adorable, but yeah, he's a lot of work.
Forgot my notepad.
Oh, hey.
Over here. Jeez, Louise.
So unprofessional.
Oh, my God. What a dork.
Ow, can you not?
You know what's actually really hilarious about George right now is I finished doing the trailer, the official trailer for the Hello, I Am Human podcast.
Yay!
It's technically up on Apple Podcasts right now. It's technically up on Spotify.
That's crazy. Oh
I
my
know.
God, so official.
I know. It's so weird. I had to like screenshot it. I was going to post it on Instagram, and then I was just like, oh, wait, did I do it right? Like, I don't know if everybody should look at it yet. I think I messed it all up. It's probably fucked up.
You're always going to think you did something wrong, like right before you make something official. You're just like, you don't want to like press the button, like the button that makes it. Oh, can you not? No. Oh my God, he's eating my table.
Okay, so what I say one of the things I say in the trailer about why I started the Hello, I Am Human project is one of the things that I love so much was during 2020. TV shows are being filmed in people's houses.
Yeah.
When you're at Jimmy Fallon's like vacation home.
I know, it's really weird.
Yeah, people like rented homes, and you're like getting to like our weatherman has like the funniest decor, like the guy on Fox 32 News. We just love the local weatherman's decor.
Aww.
And I talked about how it's so funny how our dogs and our kids were just interrupting all of our work calls.
Yeah, like now. I'm
Like
trying to
literally
find,
right now. George
literally
knew.
right now. He's not gonna stop barking until I find his. Where's your tug a rope boy? Where is it? I'm so sorry. This is such a pain in the ass.
This is how I am human. This is totally fine. I am completely
God
comfortable.
damn it.
I am thoroughly amused.
I would only be able to do this with you. Otherwise, I would just be like trying to ignore him and trying to ignore him. But like, I really want to enjoy talking with Sarah right now.
Come on, George. We did this the other day. It's totally cool.
With Sarah. God damn it. All right.
And
I can't
Sarah's
find
here.
it. Yeah. Can you chill, little asshole? My God.
Great parenting, Al.
I know. It's a good thing he can't understand what I'm saying because I've called him a lot of names today. He tore up a lot of shit.
Dude, I have to, like, thankfully, I remembered that my kids do understand, not so much that they understand what the words are, but I don't want them to repeat them.
Yeah.
So I don't call them any of that stuff.
That's why I'm not allowed to have a child because my kid would be swearing profusely by the age of, like, I don't know, whenever they can talk. My kid would just be saying swears. So
yeah, Tristan finally said his first swear. I don't know, a couple months ago.
Which one?
And he just said something, and it was totally wrong. It was something like, "Oh, the fuck," and I was just like, it was the funniest thing I'd ever heard in my life. But I knew I couldn't laugh, and that was the hardest part. I was like, and he said it a couple times trying to get a reaction out of me, and I was just like, dude, you're not using that word right.
Yeah, like there's no way I wouldn't be able to laugh. Like another reason why I just can't parent. Like I can't hide that shit. Like there's no way. I'm like the bad aunt that's just sitting there in the corner like this. Yeah.
I mean,
like I'm no help.
You did show up drunk to our baby shower. I'm
yeah,
just saying.
Absolutely.
Like that really happened.
Absolutely. I'll be wasted for all of it. Yeah.
Hashtag bad aunt.
I'm the good aunt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
You're
George.
Fun.
Oh my God. My cat and dog are fighting right now.
Oh, it's fine. It's totally fine.
Oh God.
This might be my favorite thing that's ever happened. I love this so much. I can't even tell you.
George, can you come here? Come on. I'm sorry. For those of you who don't know, I've had this dog for 2.5 days right now. So this is like quite an adjustment.
And in an apartment.
Yeah, and in an apartment. And my cat, Samson, is not having a good time. He's not enjoying himself at all. He's like basically stuck in my bedroom because I have like a baby gate. So he has his own space and like George can't go in there at all. But unfortunately, like, I mean, Samson like shouldn't just have to be in the bedroom all the time. So he tries to come out and George just goes for him immediately. And then it's just like all fucking hell breaks loose. Not good.
Yeah, I mean, that's really just the way it works. We had baby gates long before we had babies because we had to keep the dogs. We had to keep the dogs from eating the cat's food. So, like, the only baby gate we still have up is the one that we have from that, and it's just to keep the kids from getting into, like, the litter box and the utility room.
The kids from getting into a litter box?
Yeah, I mean, because it's a real thing. That was a big moment that we had this week is we took the baby gate off the top of the stairs. Caleb fell down a step. Like 2 days later, he used to always lean on it, and I caught him today, and I was like, "Whoa, bro, there's nothing to be done.
It's not there anymore."
So that's my great to it. Okay, so
sorry. Yes,
is George ready?
I think so. I'm playing tug of war right now with him, and he's fine, so it's good.
Well, Dave has to agree that this is the best episode yet. I'm loving it.
Oh my God, I'm the worst. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So Al.
Yeah.
One of my favorite photographers.
Thank you.
A sweet, sweet friend of mine that we have spent in uncountable numbers of hours together.
Oh, yeah.
Working in very close proximity, being wildly unprofessional.
Oh, always.
Yeah. So how's it going out there? You moved to Colorado during a pandemic?
Yeah. I make decisions like that. I do shit like that.
Yeah. How did that go?
It was crazy. It was a wild ride. I'm not gonna lie. Just like everything. I mean, like literally just like tonight, me locking myself out of my apartment 10 minutes before I'm supposed to be on a podcast. Like everything in my life just kind of runs that way. I don't plan very well. I like to call myself spontaneous, but people that know me would say that that's just like a euphemism for me just being like incredibly impulsive and like
Right.
just ready to do whatever. It was a long drive. I drove out by myself with my cat, and he had a hard time the whole drive. So I like planned on making pit stops to sleep, and that didn't happen at all. So like by the end of it, I was like 18 hours with a long time with no sleep, but 18 hours driving straight. And it was a crazy day. And then my like apartment building wasn't getting back to me about how I could get my keys. So I was like literally pulling into Denver, and I didn't know like with a fucking trailer on the back, like not knowing how I was going to get into my apartment. And it was the one day it snowed. Like it had been like, the movers told me it had been like 55 degrees for the last like 2 weeks. And then like literally the day I pull in, it's like snowing and we're getting like several inches in like hours. It was fucking nutty, but it's good. Just like everything, like everything in life, when you have a high risk, there's high reward, but there's always high risk. So it's like,
oh my God, yeah.
When you just decide to fucking pick up and leave in the middle of a pandemic, when things are pretty up in the air, a lot can go wrong. And in the scheme of things, like I got really lucky. Like there's always like small bullshit that goes wrong, but all in all, like it was smooth, and I made it here safely and in one piece, and so did my cat. And now I'm here and just trying to make things happen with art and photography, and we'll see. It's going well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm so used to your band shots and very
I miss that.
Oh yeah, like me too, obviously.
Dude, seriously.
Yeah, that's been hard on so many of our friends. And but yeah, like you went from doing, I'm so used to your band shots and just your shots with people, which I'm loving the stuff that you're doing out in Colorado right now because it's all strangers. But man, your landscapes right now, like they're crazy dope.
I can't really take much credit for that. That's just like the way that the mountains look. Like
You didn't pose them?
No, I didn't dress them up or anything. I didn't tell them where to face or whatever. But no, I don't know. I got like the exact like work situation I wanted. The people I work for are amazing, and I'm still working in the music industry, and then I'm handling multiple Instagram accounts and doing photography and all kinds of stuff. And so what's been really amazing is I kind of get paid to go on hikes and all this stuff. So it's like, it's for me because I would do this shit anyway. I'd wake up at 4:00 in the morning to go watch the sunrise anyway. But it's kind of fun knowing that like I'm working. Like, I don't know. Not that I should be caring about money in that way, but it's kind of nice in the middle of a pandemic when everyone's struggling just to be like, things are going okay. They're going all right.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just needed to be outside. And so now I'm outside a lot, as much as possible.
I mean, that's one of the hardest things. I mean, you're born and raised in Chicago, so that's one of the hardest things about winter is just being inside. There's that stretch that lasts about, I'm kind of starting to notice, especially now as a stay-at-home parent, it's about 6 weeks that you're going to mostly just be inside, and making it through those 6 weeks is not easy. So I can imagine like getting 50 degrees and being able to go on a hike, and get paid for it. Like the fact is we still live in a capitalist society, so you need to have money unless you're going to go totally off the grid, which I know some people that are doing that.
Love to do that.
I feel like
that's the next step.
You have to get somewhere that the weather's a little more temperate.
Yeah. But I mean, I would love that. That is honestly like, I would love to eventually, like me, George, and Samson just riding around in an RV or some kind of like weird home on wheels and just live off the land. And like, ideally, I would just love to travel around and take photos and then put those photos in galleries and have my work sell. And that's how I make my living. Like that's the fucking dream. That's what I've always wanted, just to venture around and take photos. But like everyone has to do what they got to do to pay their bills. And luckily I just kind of I try and make like literally everything I'm doing somewhat about photography in some way. So it makes me happy. Otherwise, like I'll just be so frustrated. I can't do like the sit down jobs. I can't do like a normal 5 days a week, like in an office thing, like I just can't do it. Like it's just not for me. I'm like a more like physical person. I like being active. I don't like sitting very much. I'm not very good at it. I think I have like undiagnosed possible like slight ADD. I'm not sure, but I
had a really good conversation about that with a friend recently, and how often ADD and ADHD go undiagnosed in women.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the symptoms, it expresses itself so differently. And as her partner was telling us about this, who had been diagnosed as an adult, he was telling us all about this, and they were talking about how it expresses differently in women. And I was like,
oops.
It's like,
sounds like me.
What? Can you tell me the name of that doctor again? Like, I have the psychiatrist like number on our whiteboard, because I wasn't joking. It's like, I've always been all about like understanding myself, whether it's astrology.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember, like, I have a memory of going to the mall like around Christmas time, and there would be the one little kiosk that's got all the different names and the meanings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember that, like, my first name is Sarah. It's Princess in Hebrew. I learned my middle name is
Mine is Helper Alexandra, Helper of Man, which I think is kind of bullshit, but
yeah, Helper of Man.
Yeah.
I mean, your pets are both boys.
I mean, I do prefer boys in general. I think we all know that. My company is mostly men or women that have a very masculine energy typically. I've been told that I have a masculine energy a lot, especially like in the last like 5 years of my life. It's happened a lot. I'm like, really? Is that true? Really? I didn't know this about myself.
It must be your impulsiveness, because you're allowed to because you will just get up and go to Thailand to go photograph people for months. Like,
that was amazing.
But I mean, those pictures are great too. But that's just one of the things that I think women deal with. It's so much of what we talk about on the show is like all of these labels that we have, and we think about all of the labels that women get put on us, and what is okay. Well, if you're a woman, then you have to be this. You have to be, a little more submissive. You have to be caring. You have to want to have kids. So, I mean, I definitely felt like there was something wrong with me at certain points in my life, because I didn't dream about my wedding. I didn't dream of having babies. I didn't want to just do that, which is funny because I always did think I wanted to be a stay-at-home parent if I was a parent. But I think that's because that's what my mom did. But,
so you just kind of like saw it and saw that it was nice and it worked out well.
Yeah, I dug it.
Yeah. I mean, it's good for kids, honestly. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, totally. And but I think that's one of the things that probably one of the reasons you get called have masculine energy, like,
because I don't want kids and I don't want to get married and I don't want to do any of the things.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome and great and freeing. That's one of the things I've always loved about you, is like, but it's a term you hear so in such a cliche way often, but like, you truly to me are such a free spirit in so many ways, and like, I love that. I've always loved that about you. When we were trapped in an office together working those desk jobs, oh my gosh, like that really was torturous for me. The first I had to get broken. I was like a little wild pony that had to get broken. I was so used to just running around.
Housebroken.
Stay at your desk. The phone rings. You have to be there. No one can take a message for you. It's like, isn't that how phones work?
Yeah, no. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, and you were probably the most stir crazy person I've ever seen in my life sitting at a desk.
It's so bad. I know. I feel bad. Like I can't. I don't know. I have a problem. And it's not even that. Like I hate editing. I hate editing photos. Like, that's why I try and get my photos like so exact in camera. Like, I'm a big believer with, you shouldn't really have to do much to your photos. Like, you just shouldn't. Like, I think it's a cop out, but I know a lot of people do, and it is what it is, but I just don't necessarily consider that like photography. But I fucking hate editing. It's like, it's half the fact that I don't think you should have to, and half the fact that I fucking hate sitting at a computer with like the 400 photos that I have lined up from the last couple weeks, and I need to like go through all of them and look through all of them and edit them. It's like, I like to spend as little time behind a computer as possible. So I just like I want to be behind the fucking camera. If I could hire someone to edit my photos for me, I'm a little bit of a control freak. So I don't like, maybe not, but like, honestly, since I don't do much of them, like maybe I could just like hire someone someday and just like have them fuck with my photos. Like, I just don't want to do it. Like, I don't know. It's just, I fucking I hate computers. I hate cell phones. I hate all that. Like, I just don't want to. Yeah, I'm gonna live off the grid one day. I
like it.
The more I talk about stuff like this, like, and the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, I just can't stand any of this. I just got to get away. It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I'm getting out of here.
You gotta follow those calls. I mean, whether that's, I mean, I've done it when I moved from Eastern North Carolina to Western North Carolina. I was there a couple of months, and then I was like, oh, Chicago.
Yeah.
Zip. I mean, it's
the
like
exact opposite.
Yeah, I'm a little more rooted right now, obviously, with a family and whatnot. But yeah, I think you got to follow those calls. I mean, I believe in intuition. It's something that you and I have talked about before.
Yes,
and I think, yeah, you got to follow that. I mean, isn't that what your inner calling is? Like, if you're ignoring that.
I think that's why a lot of people are unhappy, is because they think like, they think they have to be a certain way, or they think they have to do a certain thing. And so they're actually fucking miserable, which is why everyone tries to pretend they're happy all the time on social media. Another reason why I hate it. But like, it's just like, that's just like not how life should be. Everyone should do what they want and not kill people, obviously. But like, just if you want to go off and act like a butterfly in the middle of a forest, then go to the fucking forest and act like a butterfly and enjoy your life, because like, it's not that long. Life is not that long, and you can die at any time, at any age. It doesn't fucking matter. You may think that like, you know, you should live, but that's where like, I think like retirement is insane.
Right.
Like, let me wait until I'm 65 years old, if I get there, to enjoy my fucking self. Like, no, like, that's why, like, when I talk about travel, and I like, when people are like, oh, well, like, don't you want to start a family? Don't you want to do this? It's like, no, I want to travel. I want to go here. I want to do this. I want to go there. I want to do this. Like, those are my goals. And I just like, a family is not a priority to me. It just never has been. It's not what I want. And like, I shouldn't feel guilty about that. And like, no, and I also like, don't want to make people feel guilty who like want to be a mom and want to be parents. I love people that want to be parents that have children, because they're good parents. Like, we need more of those. Like, I'm just tired of the people faking it all the time. Like,
oh yeah,
like,
because they think they want to
have, and also like, they think it's a good idea. Like, they think it's going to be cute. Like, I can't wait to be pregnant and like get married and like all these things. It's like, it's only good when it's with the right person, and it's only good when you really want it. Like, otherwise it's going to suck. And then you're just like carrying that gene, that suck gene on.
Well, and honest to God, even when you really want it and have to go to doctors and rely on doctors and scientists to have children, like my wife and I did, it still sucks sometimes. So just go do the other things. You have to fill up your life with as much good to balance all the suck. And I mean, that's
the suck. I love that.
But I love that that's what you said about we only have so much time, because like my mom retired, quote unquote, when she had lung cancer and was dying. And
that's so unfair.
Yeah. And I mean, and then I watched, you know, my dad had retired. He did it for about, I don't know, a year. He was stir crazy, and he got a part-time job because he needed to be doing something. And after
I also love people like that. Like, people that like just they just like doing shit, you know?
Yeah. And like, after he had passed away, I had been like pretty unhappy in my job for a long time. Like, I mean, and we had a kid, and now I was commuting, and it was just, everything was just wrong. It was, none of that was what I wanted, you know?
No, like, hence good.
Yeah. Like, I wasn't happy in my job. I was a new parent, and I wasn't getting to see my kid because I was commuting to a job I didn't necessarily want to be at.
Yeah. That's all bad. That's all just time, all just stacked time away from all the things you want to be doing. And that feels really fucking bad.
It was awful. And that's why, you know, it was a hard conversation to have with Tanya and figure out how to do it and what it was going to look like. But I mean, that's why I left my job. And I always half joke now that even with my father-in-law, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm retired. Like, I'm not. Because
Done.
out of the four
Thank
of
you.
us, Tanya's the only one that has a job because her parents are both retired. I always say that I'm retired. So I mean, I'm just trying to hang, you know. But yeah,
I love that.
I spent too many years not working a regular job and being a full-time musician. And then like, even when I was managing a bar for a couple of years, like that's not the real world. If you work in the service industry, particularly at a bar, particularly if you're a manager, that's not normal society whatsoever. That is a very strange world to inhabit. And
it's a real niche group for sure. Yeah. Like it's rough. It's fucking rough. Yeah. Like honestly, it's a whole different world, and I think it's like fun for a lot of reasons, but super fucking stressful for a lot of reasons too.
Yeah, and mostly the drinking and drugs is what was so stressful.
Oh, a lot. Yeah. Lots of
a lot of that.
Like not balancing things correctly.
No,
like not being
not
healthy.
No, very unhealthy for me. And yeah, I feel like now that I got out of the rat race, so to speak, now I'm good. I'm just figuring out how to live life and do this full time and, you know, talk to artists and people that I love and make music again. Because I was just going to say,
this is pretty fucking cool. Like you're starting your whole thing. Like you're finding a groove that you like you love talking to people. I've told you this before, but you are just like the most amazing person to have a conversation with. Like, you just know how to gel with everybody. Like, you know so much about so many different things, and like conversation just flows so easily. Like, I feel like you could talk to anyone, honestly. Like, this is such a great, I think like you found like a calling for you, honestly. Like, I feel like you've found your way. I can imagine you being like the lady Joe Rogan, just having like people on and just like having like, and like some podcasts are serious and like really informational. And then there's others like this where I'm just like completely out of my mind, and like you're not gonna be able to have like a very centered conversation with me, but like you know what I mean, just gonna be like all walks of life. Like I can't wait to see where this is. And I can't wait to see where this is like 5 years from now, honestly. I mean, like
I'm telling you, like, no joke, one of my big inspirations is Mark Maron. Like, oh my god,
Mark Maron. I know.
And you know what's so great about Mark Maron is he's just a comedian. He's like crass as all hell, and he's just himself the whole time. And then he has the president of the United States on his podcast in his garage in his house. One of my favorite things I've ever listened to, and definitely one of my favorite podcasts I've ever listened to, is when Mark Maron was talking about afterwards. Like, it was the post show. He did a whole episode that was the post show, and he was like, Secret Service is like talking to my neighbors, and like because they were in his garage. Oh my god,
that is crazy. That is crazy.
Go back and find it. It's so good.
I'll have to listen to that. I didn't even know that happened. Holy shit, that's a huge deal.
Yeah,
good for Mark Maron. Honestly,
that's my plan. I just want to ask Barack Obama if I can call him Barry. Because that's who he is in my heart, because I love him and I feel so close to him. God, what a good guy. Anyway, I don't want to go down that road.
We miss him.
But yeah, in case anybody didn't know, this lesbian is a liberal. Just saying.
This lesbian mom is a lesbo.
Yeah.
And this is a lesbo supporter.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love my ladies.
One of the things that you said to me the other day, which is I'm tied into the whole supporter thing, and is I loved this so much. And I told you I was going to bring it up, and you said that the beauty of being human is that we're all different. And God, I couldn't agree with you more. Like, I felt like my heart just had flowers explode out of it when you said that. Because that's so my vibe, and it's so your vibe. And so tell me a little bit more about some of the strangers that you've been meeting and photographing lately.
Oh man. Like I know I'm a social person, but I'm also not. Like, I don't necessarily love to be in big groups anymore, and I don't like love having conversations with everybody, but there's something about talking to strangers, someone that you don't know at all, and like there's no pressure on the conversation. Like, people here are super, super friendly, so they'll just start a conversation with me. Like, I'll just be walking by with my camera, and they just like strike up a conversation, and then all of a sudden we're talking about like the one guy, Richard Livingston, one of the guys I photographed, he was just this like sweet old man sitting on a bench, and he was like, "You enjoying your walk?" And I was like, "I am." And then just like completely went off, and he was like, "I was the mail boy at like the courthouse just behind us." And I look, and there's this like big grand courthouse, and he walks there all the time, just like reliving his past and like reliving when he used to be like the mail boy, like doing all of like the really important work and getting the judge all of his papers. And like, it was just like very surreal. And for some reason, things like that just happen to me all the time. I have like random people either come up to me or like, I don't know if it's a Colorado thing. It happens a lot in a lot of places, but just
It's
people
you.
just start talking. It might be me, but people just start talking, and then like I get so interested because I'm just learning random facts about people. And like this other little old man who's just like sitting on his porch with his iPod, he was just like listening to music in his rocking chair. And he was just like, "You look like you should have a dog." And I was like, right? Like I agree. Yeah. He literally said this to me. This was like a month ago. And I was like, this man is right. I think this is a sign. Speaking of signs and intuition and serendipity.
Right. Oh my God. That's great.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at all.
It all falls into place. But yeah, I love having like random bursts of conversations with people. It's so like enlivening. It makes me feel really good. And then they get really excited when I ask if I want to take their picture. I just like get out my camera. And at first I was really shy about that. I've been really shy about that in the past, like taking pictures of strangers and being respectful of certain situations. Like there's a lot of homelessness around here right now, and I'm devising a plan in which I can respectfully ask to take pictures of like the things that are happening in Denver, because it's not like when I was here before. It's much, much different. Like my ex and I used to joke around like that Denver was just like the cleanest city we'd ever been to, and coming from Chicago is just kind of fucking nuts. Like there's just no garbage. It's totally different now. There's garbage everywhere, homeless people everywhere. There's huge like campsites with tents all over, and it's like right by my apartment. I live on Cap Hill, and it's just like literally all over. And they're really friendly people. Like they're really friendly people. I'll be walking by and they just like strike up a conversation. And the other day, like some dudes were playing soccer, and I played soccer with them for a little bit, and like they're really nice, and I would love to take a photo of them, but I'm also not trying to exploit like what's happening. So I'm trying to figure out a plan in which I'm helping and not just like selfishly taking photos of people that are struggling. So I'll hopefully figure that out, and that's going to be a project I'm going to be working on. But that's a whole nother like branch off of just like talking to strangers. Like and it took me a while, several years, to get comfortable asking to take a picture of just like someone I don't know. But some people get really excited about it and almost are like honored that you want to take their photo. And it's fun for me because I hate having my photo taken. So I understand if people do as well. Like I hate being in front of the camera. I'm awful at it. I feel like I can never, ever, ever take a good picture. So I'm just super self-conscious, and I'll hate any image of myself. It doesn't matter what it is. And so like, I fully understand when people don't want a picture taken, but for the most part, people are like really into it, which is good. It's good. But you have to feel out the situation. I won't just ask every single person if they're getting weird, because that happens too. Like this is not a fairy tale land. Like, not every conversation I have with every stranger goes well. Like not every single one. So
note to anyone that's thinking about trying a person-to-person stranger photo project, it doesn't always go well.
For anyone who wants to take my advice and walk around a city at night by yourself and talk to random strangers, it doesn't always go well. And carry a knife and mace. I need to get my mace back.
Yeah, you got to protect yourself.
a little bit.
But I mean, I think it's so important to document those kind of situations. I think it's because that's why photojournalism has always been wildly powerful. And I think that the speed at which that all happens nowadays, I mean, hello, like George Floyd, come on, you know? I mean, if someone hadn't been, and that was just a person, and just the fact that, I mean, it's photographers and people that are really spreading these stories and are bringing this awareness. Like that's why, is because of social media and people just out living their lives, but also photographers that are doing this intensely important work that is bringing awareness, raising the social consciousness of the country. Slowly, change
I
is
mean, that's the
slow.
goal. That's the goal. I actually, that's, it's funny that you said like that exact thing because I remember when I was little, like my sister and I would go to my grandma's house, and it was probably when I was like, I don't know, it was before the age of 10, I know that, but I remember being little and when I would go over to my grandma's house, my grandma would give my sister the tabloids and she would give me the National Geographic. And I remember whatever issue it was the issue with all of the beached whales,
Right.
like all of those dead whales all over the beach. And one, I was obsessed with like ocean creatures and fish and whales and stuff. And I remember like being up in the attic and like looking at it and like crying and feeling and just being like, this is terrible. Like, I need to do this. Like, I need to go. And I'd already been like starting to buy like little Kodak cameras and take pictures of everything. And like, I'd already had like a very big interest in photography. But then when I saw that image, I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to travel all over. I want to put myself in really dangerous situations. I want to spread like the light. Like, I want people to see what the fuck is going on. And now, unfortunately, like because of, well, fortunately, but unfortunately for me as a photographer, everyone has cell phones. So now everyone just like documents things with phones and they think it's just as good. But that's a good and bad thing. Yeah, I don't know. There's good and bad to it. I think there's a lot of good, obviously, because cops.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
but also you
like,
need to get paid as a photographer.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I would really, I still just have that dream since I was like a little girl of just being like a National Geographic photographer. Like that was the goal for a while, just like traveling around and it was literally because like that image was so powerful. I was like little and it just like hit me so hard. And I just remember being so sad. And I was like, fuck, like I don't want to make people sad all the time, but I definitely want people to like feel something from an image. Like, because, paint, like all art forms are really, really important. But like in a photo, if you can actually convey like that deep emotion, it is super fucking powerful. Like it really is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's whether it's catching a picture of a human or even just like where I was talking about your landscapes, like that time lapse that you did and that was so cool and it had such feeling to it, but also there's something magical about capturing a person. And as being a musician, I've had my picture taken so many times by so many people, and there's definitely specific photographers that like stick out in my mind. That
best drummer face.
Always...
You have the best drummer face ever, dude. It's just like orgasm face constantly. Like when you're playing the drums, you just like you look like you're like really, really enjoying yourself.
I mean, it is kind of my thing. I've been doing it a long time,
Yeah.
But the same way that's the way that one of the ways that my soul expresses itself, just as yours does through your art too. And I mean, there's something about when you're in that moment. You were talking about when we were having a conversation before about when you like getting that little kid high, like taking photographs and how like it just lights you up. I mean, that's how drumming and like when I'm connecting with music, I mean, even just listening to it, I can get just so crazy hyped up about a song. But like there's something about playing it with other humans, and when you hit that groove, and everybody's just...
That is so fun to photograph, by the way, when you see everyone catching that groove on stage and just being there to like witness it. Like, oh yeah, man, the little kid high, that is the best. Like that's like, oh yeah, because I was just talking about like all the different areas of photography that I've loved and like been involved with. And I still love taking stupid fucking pictures of photo or flowers and like sunsets and shit. And it's just like, it's just because I couldn't do that. I didn't have the equipment to do that when I was little. I had a fucking Kodak camera because my allowance was like $4 a week and that's all I could afford. And so I would just go buy a Kodak camera and I would try and take photos of these epic sunsets, and they would be such disappointments because they'd be like completely blown out and like everything sucked. But then I started moving on to like taking pictures of my friends when we were all hanging out and like everyone laughing. And like I have so many incriminating photos from my childhood of all of my friends. Like my friends know this. They know this too. Like it's true, you guys. If anyone from my childhood is watching right now, they know that I have like literally thousands of photos of us from when we were little, and they're just stacked. And I have some cameras that I've never even gotten developed, like just some old Kodak cameras that I just still have not gotten developed. Yeah, my mom, before I was leaving, found like all this shit, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I need to get them developed. I bet they're epic. If the film's not ruined, I bet they're epic. But yeah,
you got to do that. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I'm always so turned on by photographers and that art form is because I just always enjoyed taking pictures so much, and when I was a kid especially.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm kind of starting to play around with a little bit more now that because all I have is an iPhone. But the newer iPhone is a lot nicer.
I know.
And I'm like, you can actually get some like decent shots with it. But yeah, it all started because when I was a kid, like I definitely hit that like heavy awkward phase. And oh man.
Oh yeah. Those are great.
And it was like the late 90s, and I like wanted to wear black with like a vest, but I also like rode horses, so I had like a cowboy hat. Like I'll try it, and I have my teeth were really crooked.
Oh my god!
I'll try to find a really bad picture just for y'all.
You gotta send me that.
I will send you guys.
That's so many things meshed into one human.
Yeah.
I also really love to wear horses. I like vests.
I like baseball. I played in the woods a lot. God,
oh my god, you had to be fucking adorable.
Oh my god, I was just the yin and yang baby. That's so me. I'm a Gemini. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
But oh my god, yeah. So I figured out early on that if I'm taking the pictures, then I don't have to be in the pictures.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, when I got our family photographs after my parents passed away, I was like going through them trying to like just weed out just because you got doubles at Eckerd's that day when you got your photos printed. And so I was like trying to slim it down because the box was so heavy.
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm not in any of these pictures of the four of us. What's going on?
There is like I'm taking a downer. Like that's like sometimes that's a downer, but honestly, I really hate seeing myself in photos so much that like I'm honestly okay with it. I know I was there. I was a part of it. Like I have Ashley and Alyssa who have like some of the worst photos of me that have ever been taken, but to be honest with you, I don't hate those because the memory still makes me like cry from laughter most of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what's up because it's all about how you're tying the emotion to it. What's been your favorite place that you went to take photos in all your travels?
Oh, man.
Or at least one of the top ones.
Oh, sorry. I don't know all of them. I think like I have, and that's a terrible answer, but it's like when people ask me like, what's my favorite color? And I say rainbow because I can't pick. It's like,
I don't really have one.
There's so many like different reasons. Like Thailand, I loved all like the street photography I got to take in Thailand because there's like all of the markets and like all this like food everywhere. And like, it's fucking 98 degrees hotter than that. But like at night, it's like 98 degrees and people are like cooking behind these hot, huge like fires and like, that was really interesting. And then Paris was really fun. Paris was amazing because that was also another really fucking serendipitous trip where I didn't plan anything, like nothing. I didn't plan like the hostel I was staying in. Like I lied to my mom. My mom was like, please tell me you know where you're staying, you know what you're doing. And it was like the week before I was leaving, I finally figured out a hostel that I'd stay in for the first couple nights. And but because I didn't plan anything, I had no idea what I was going to do. And I just kind of bopped around Paris for a few days. And like, I met this couple in this cafe across from Notre Dame, which I wasn't planning on going inside because I didn't really want to do any of the touristy things. I don't want to wait in line. I don't want to be around that group.
Right.
So I was just hanging out in this cafe and I heard this couple across from me speaking English really well. And I was like, oh, are you guys American? And they're like, yeah, we're from Chicago. And I was like, me too. And like, we just had this whole discussion and it was October 5th or something. So it was like the first Sunday of the month. And I guess the first Sunday of the month, all the museums and everything are free. And it was like 4:30. And they were like, you need to get your butt over to Notre Dame and just go inside. Like, please, like it's free. Cause I was like, I'm trying to keep it cheap. And they're like, we know, but like, it's free. Get over there. So I had my backpack with me, which was full of wine, like little like mini bottles of wine because you can just buy like little mini bottles of wine all over France. Yeah. And I had all my photography gear on me And when I stood in this big long line. And when I got to the front, this dude was like, do you have alcohol on you? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, do you have camera gear on you? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I'm going to pretend like you didn't tell me any of those things. Like, don't drink any of it. Like, don't drink the alcohol in the chapel, and like, don't take photos. And I was like, okay, like, no problem. And I understand that people who are religious will think that this is awful of me, but after the ceremony, I waited till everyone cleared out, and I got a photo of Notre Dame just completely empty, which like, I don't think a lot of people get to experience Notre Dame empty. Right. And it was like literally not a person was in it. Like, not a chair was filled. It was like, I don't believe in that shit, but there was like just such a crazy energy about being in that place. It's such an old place. Like, I don't know, I just like felt it, and I just got to have it to myself for like 5 minutes. And it was just this whole serendipitous day that just like led up to that. So it's like every trip that I go on, like Moab was like that too. I had so many things that happened like that. Like every trip I go on has a weird series of events like that, where it just, I feel like I'm in the right spot. And it's like the combination of the photos I'm getting, the people I'm meeting, and like everything that's just kind of like lining up for me to like take this certain path. It's just like, fuck, it's crazy. It's awesome. Like, I loved it. Like, I don't know. I can't pick a trip, but I can tell you amazing stories from each trip that made them equally my favorite.
Oh my God. I can't even tell you how much I love that story about Notre Dame. I remember when like going to London and going into Westminster Abbey. And I was so excited about it because it's 1,000-year-old church. So much of Western history has happened in that church, like huge events. And it was just tourists everywhere. I didn't, and it was very early on in mine and Tanya's relationship. We actually talked about this trip in the very first conversation we ever had. No joke. She told me she was going, and I was like trying to be all smooth. I was like, oh, cool. When do we leave?
Oh, cool.
But it worked.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I went. And, but yeah, so I just remember being in the Westminster Abbey, and she was so used to just very extroverted me that when I was just like not enjoying being around tourists, because I mean, I used to go to music festivals, like I'm so used to all this stuff, and like I couldn't stand it. And that was why it was just like, are you even noticing where you are?
Oh,
like,
dude,
this is so amazing.
Yeah, I had like another series of photos that I take whenever I'm somewhere. I take photos of people on their cell phones, because it's like really hilarious the amount of people that are just like there for the selfie to say that they were there. And like, I'm like, dude, I like, sometimes I even feel bad taking photos with my camera, like walking around and just like not being present. Like, there's a lot of times where I don't, not a lot, but there's sometimes where I don't take a photo because I just like, I'm like, I should really just enjoy this. Like, I took like 2 or 3 photos of Notre Dame empty, and then I stopped and I sat for like a few minutes. Cause like, there's just certain things you have to like appreciate and soak up. And like, even like the first sunrise when I was at Moab, when I had this horrible night, and I swear to God, there was like a rape van next to me that like, I got to Moab by myself at like 9 o'clock at night, and it was pitch black, and I didn't know where I was going, and I'd never been there before, and I was fucking terrified. And I got to Canyonland's like visitor center, and it was my car, and I didn't get my tent out or anything. Like, I just like stayed in my car. It was windy as fuck, and the van next to me was just this like white van. Couldn't hear any people talking inside of it, like didn't know what was going on. And I didn't sleep the whole night because I was like, someone's gonna break into my car and like rape me and take me down into the canyon and never see me again. Yeah.
Gone.
So like, I just remember when the sun finally started coming up that morning, I was so happy. And I just like stepped outside of my car and I was like, the sun is out. Nothing bad can happen to me now. Like, rape van doesn't scare me anymore. Everything's good. And I just remember like sitting and looking at that sunrise and just being like, everything's okay. Like, cause like sometimes when I go places by myself, I have like a slight moment of panic. Like, what the fuck are you doing out? Like, when I moved out here, I had like a pretty large moment of panic when I was like crossing the border of Colorado, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get into my apartment. I don't know what's going on. I've got a cat with me who hasn't peed or pooped in like 18 hours. Like I was
Right.
just like panicking, and I was like, I make the worst fucking decisions. And it's like, no, you just have to ride it out. And like when you do high risk behavior, it's going to lead to a high reward, hopefully. But,
Right.
or I guess when you're going for the high reward behavior, it's always going to be high risk, and you just gotta
Yeah.
fucking deal with it.
Well, because it's all about getting vulnerable, right? And I mean, whether it's emotional vulnerability with being in a relationship or whether
Yeah.
it's, physical vulnerability by
Yeah.
putting yourself next to a rape van in the middle of the desert to get
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
sunrise.
Yeah. I apparently enjoy the thrill of physical vulnerability instead of
Right.
emotional vulnerability. I guess I kind of stay away from the emotional one, but I love putting myself in really bad situations. So
Oh my God. And see, I'm the polar opposite of that. I will get emotionally so naked
oh my
with
God.
a stranger.
Yeah,
I don't mind,
your
but
heart is
like,
just on your sleeve though. And that's why you're
yeah.
such a good person to talk to, because it's like you feel everything that someone else is. You're an empath, obviously. Like it's just it is a wonderful thing about you, and it's really, really hard to keep as an adult. Like, you know what
Right.
I mean? It's
Oh
really
yeah.
hard to keep as an adult. Everyone like goes through hurt and trauma, and bullshit happens, and we lose people. Like it's hard to recover from shit like that. And the fact that like you're still such an open person and like always wearing your heart on your sleeve, dude, it's not hard to tell how you feel about a situation. And
Which isn't
I
always a good
love
thing. That's,
dude,
that's not always meant to
it's
my advantage.
I
Oh my God.
actually, I will always appreciate the person where I know where I stand. Like it's so much better. It's so much better. People can say that they like fake people all they want, and it's just because they just like to feel good about themselves all the time. Sometimes you need a real fucking friend who's going to tell you the truth, or like
Yeah.
a real reaction, like,
Absolutely. And I
yeah,
feel like, honestly, I feel like where you're talking about losing people and all the hurt, I mean, that cracked me open more
yeah,
because when because it was so different for me, like when I moved and I lost my mom and I had to go back home and dealing with all of that and like mourning from a distance from my dad and my brother, and then like losing my dad of the same thing. But then it gave me this empathy that when my friends started losing their family, I was able to say, "Hey, you need to talk about it. Like I've been
yeah,
through this. I know that
yeah,
this is hard. It's gonna mess you up. You're probably
yeah.
gonna,
It's going to take time,
yeah, and
like
it's gotta
time.
heal. Yeah, we one of Tanya's aunts passed in November, and that was so hard on our family to lose. She was kind of the first matriarch of that generation
Oh no.
that the family
That's such a
lost.
scary, like that, the first one, it just
Oh yeah,
starts to really set in. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I
Everyone has a hard time with the first of the line.
Yeah.
Like,
And she was awesome. I loved her, and that was really hard. So I've just in any little way that I can try to be there for Tanya's cousins and her uncle, and which has basically been like, hey, I'll come over on Friday. You can load up my minivan with boxes of books, and I'll go drop them off because they're moving. But like
oh,
I tried to really, as I'm like dealing with this, I thought about the cousins, losing their mother, but then I just kind of had to remember to also pivot to Tanya's parents. It's like, hey, what's it like to lose your, you know, friend? Like, well, what's the relationship? Your cousin-in-law? To lose
I can't
someone
do
of
that,
their
man.
generation. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
what the term is, but to lose someone that's been a part of their life for 45 years.
and it also
Because
is to like kind of put your,
I've not been alive that long. I don't know what it's like to be in your 70s and be like, oh shit,
yeah.
there's the first
That's
one.
and like that I think like people have a hard time with it too, because it's you think about your own mortality.
Oh
Like
yeah.
when it's like your generation that's kind of like up next. Like even I forget, I just watched something where they were talking about like the fact that the last grandparent had died, and now it's on the next generation, and it's like that's kind of a fucked up feeling, like knowing that like you got. And also, hilariously enough, this is when I love to spin the conversation and be like, yeah, but you can also die like tomorrow. Like, like,
Yeah,
like the
100%.
next generation is the next generation, but also like you can die when you're 5. Like
Yeah.
shit is terrible.
And I mean, that's one of the things that I don't know if everyone's mind goes to it, but I'm definitely the kind of person that like always goes to if I don't hear from Tanya, if in the normal time that she would be like coming home, it's like, oh, are you dead?
Yeah.
I can't help it, and I know I've talked to my brother about that because his partner has been, like worried about him when he hadn't come home from work yet. And he's like, why is she texting me and like being all weird, thinking I'm dead? I'm like, because it's literally it's what our
Yeah.
brains do.
It's
I
an
don't know
actual
why.
fear. Like
Yeah.
it's a real fear. Like when we haven't heard from you in a while, like my mom is that way. Like
Yeah.
I'm really, really bad at my phone. Like there's very
Mm-hmm.
few people I like actually text regularly on like a regular basis. Ashley and Alyssa, obviously. But my mom is someone that I just can't ignore like
Right.
ever because I know she worries so bad. So it's like I feel bad that like my sisters sometimes I won't get back to in days. Like some people I just like won't respond. And it's not on purpose. It's not that I don't care. It's just I'm also trying to be off my phone a lot. But with my
Good.
mom, it's like my mom is really concerned that I'm dead. And I can't really blame her because I do stupid shit and I'm
She
her.
knows you.
Yeah, unfortunately I'm like the wild child. She's got like my 45-year-old sister who's married and has kids, my 38-year-old sister who's married and living a nice life here in Colorado actually. And then there's me who no one knows where I'm going to be in a
Right.
year. Like my mom, she asks me this all the time. And my stepdad at this point just like fucking laughs. Because my mom was like, so like, do you think you're going to be in Colorado for a while? Like, should we maybe move there? Like, where do you think you're going to be? And I'm just like, Ma, I don't fucking know. Like, if someone asked me to move to Paris tomorrow, I would do it. If someone asked me to move a lot of places, I would do it. Like, I'm just
Right.
always down.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm her only child that like doesn't have a very predictable life. And I feel like I'm wearing on her
Right.
sometimes and like not on purpose. Also, she
No,
worries
no.
too much. She's like, she literally worries like far too much, like more
Right.
than the average person, I feel like. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really get on my phone a whole lot except for with my mom. I will. So like my mom, if I don't answer my mom in like 5 hours, she's like, what is happening? Where are you? What's going on? My mom is like my obsessive boyfriend, pretty much, like is what I'm
Hey,
trying to say.
maybe that's why you feel so free to not have to worry about that with your relationships, is because you've already got someone that's got your back. You're
All the
fine.
time.
So
All the time.
what do you think? What do you think is at the heart of the inspiration of always traveling? Just the new adventures, or
I think when I was little, and I'm not trying to get like too deep, but like
oh no,
I didn't
this is where we do that.
I didn't like my life growing up a whole lot. Typically, I was sad a lot. I was like the sad clown kind of like my
Right.
mom still insists that I was like the happiest child on earth. However, my family and I have like found my old journals and like old like writings that I did for school that were so depressing and like bad stories.
Yeah.
Like not good. And so like I think when I was little I wanted to run away a lot. And like
Mm-hmm.
I just always dreamed of being somewhere other than where I was. And
Mm-hmm.
like I think the whole National Geographic thing happened and I was like, okay, well this combines all the things I want to do. I want to leave and like escape from everybody. I want to travel and meet new people all the time. Like I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure why I am this way. I've tried to think about it a lot in the last I don't know how many years. I want
Yeah.
to say like I don't know, my whole adulthood. But it
Right.
seems to be getting worse. I don't know. It's like getting more severe the older I get because I have I have a time complex. I'm not afraid of dying.
Right.
I'm afraid of not doing enough in the time that I have here and I've had enough experiences where I've witnessed that your life can just be like done in a second. And so it's like I think all of my experiences and everything combined, I'm so scared of not doing enough in the time that I'm here. And so I'm
Right.
constantly restless.
Right.
It's good.
Yeah, I made me immediately think of, I don't know if you've ever heard of, there's a past life psychic named Ainsley McLeod that I've talked
Mm.
about a few times. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that he talks about is like the missions that your soul is on. And as soon as you started saying that, I was like, oh my God, do you have a mission of exploration? Because that's one of the
Yeah.
things that I have too. And I think that that's why, you know, I spent so many years with such a hunger for travel, but also
Yeah.
meeting people and
Yeah.
learning. And I remember
You're
doing
like,
this.
you're doing it right now. You're like trying to find any way you can, like in the middle of a
Yeah,
pandemic, you're trying to find any way possible that you can just like talk to people, meet people, and like talk,
yeah.
like have like interesting conversations. Yeah.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, I am the person that talks to the cashier at the grocery store. Like that's always been me.
Yes, you are.
But it's fun. I mean,
And
like
they love you.
I love when people will play. Like there was a whole conversation. The last time I was there, the lady behind me was in the conversation, and it was a nice little
Yeah.
45 seconds of
But
life.
you know what? You know what's so nice? Like, you know how good you feel after something like that? I love thinking about hopefully that they feel good too,
Yeah,
and that like everyone just feels good. And then
yeah.
that almost builds on itself. It's a fucking drug. It's a weird fucking drug. Yeah, I
Yes,
know.
yes, all of that.
Yeah,
That
dude.
is
I know.
that is literally that's the thesis of Hello I Am Human.
Yeah, man.
I want to feel good, and I want all of you to feel good because it's like a fucking drug.
It really is. It's a fucking
Yeah,
drug.
like let's get high. You know what I'm saying?
Let's get high, baby.
Oh my god, it makes me want to go visit you in Colorado. Anyway.
Oh, please do. Seriously. No, and I just want to say this to anyone listening. I want visitors. Last time I lived out here, my favorite part of being out here the first time was having bands come and tour and stay with us. Like, I loved it. I love hosting everyone. And like, by the way, I'm not a good host. Like, I'm not gonna make breakfast in the morning. Like,
Wait. That caught me so off guard. That was the loudest laugh I think ever happened in the history of the world. I'm sorry, y'all. It just caught me off guard. I'm sorry.
this is why I shouldn't do this because I have verbal diarrhea and I don't even know what I'm saying while I'm saying
it's
it.
okay. I warned everyone. I tried to be honest in the descriptions of these episodes that you never know where we're gonna go, and it's gonna be a good time.
I'm not a good host in the way where like I'm not gonna have like breakfast made for you probably, but like we're gonna have a great fucking time. I'll have weed for sure. And like
Nice.
I'll provide you a home. Like and we'll have a good time. Like that's really like all I can guarantee is that we'll have a really good fucking time.
I can tell you as a band, that was the best thing in the world. Like that was one of my favorite things was there was this one bar that we used to play at in Topsail Island, North Carolina, which is this like little beach community. And the guy that owned the bar had a little house next to his place.
Oh yes.
And he would always let us stay there. If we had played the night before, we could come because he was at the bar late, so he didn't care if we showed up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So we would drive directly from whatever show we had played, stay the night there, play the show at his bar, stay that, and he'd always like come over with a bag of weed. We'd like go fishing off his dock. When we recorded our second,
that's amazing.
he let us live there for a week for free when we recorded our second album. But like it's so fun getting to do stuff like that, and like in meeting random people at a bar, and they're like, "You guys were great." We're like, "Can we sleep on your couch?"
Yep.
So when I was managing the bar in my hometown, that was one of the things that I did. Is like I didn't mind having the bands like crash at my place. I just remember
so much fun.
I remember there was this one band. They were called I don't know if they ever made it up to Illinois, but it was this band called Mercy Mercedes. And they were like amazing. An emo band because that was really big at the time. It's like the early 2000s, and I love emo, as I talked about as Boys versus Girls and I talked about on episode 3. Like I love emo music, and so I had this emo band like stayed at my house, and when I got up the next morning, they had so many hair straighteners and blow dryers plugged in all over my house. These 5 dudes.
Behind the scenes.
Oh my gosh. At like 9 a.m. after a show, just hair straighteners and blow dryers and hairspray. It was my favorite thing. I loved it so much.
But this is also, I kind of like selfishly offer up my place too, because being a documentary photographer, like that's just my dream. Like some of my favorite photos that I took in Colorado were like of bands like after the show at my apartment. This one, also, that's how I got so close with so many people too, because they would be with us for like 4 or 5 days at a time, and we're spending all this time together, and like we're helping load in and we're helping load out, and like kind of being a part of the whole thing. But like one of my favorite nights with a band. They're called Bonzo Turks. It's
Mm-hmm.
with my buddy Luke Parcell, who I've known since like we were like 12. They came out to tour in Colorado, and I don't know what night it was, but I got us like weed. Do you know what Starbucks? They have those like fucking cake pops.
Oh my God.
They had weed cake pops, and I think they were each
Heaven,
100.
is it too far
Yep.
away?
They were each like 100 or 150 milligrams, and we each all ate one after like drinking a lot. And I just remember like,
did you die?
I mean, no, but it like we went from like having the greatest conversation to all like dying laughing to all of a sudden all of us were like, we need to go to bed. It's time to go to bed. Like I'm so fucked up and so high. Like, and I don't think I actually like revealed that they were like 100 milligrams. I think I was just like, here, like eat this, everyone eat this. That's why I'm a bad host. Because like, I'm just going to give you things that like you probably shouldn't have. But
so when I visit you in Colorado, I'll bring my own cake pops.
If you want, I mean, I guess like
I need them gluten-free. I can't eat wheat anymore. So, you know, that's just my real life.
I guarantee you I could find you gluten-free weed cake pops here in Colorado. They have everything you could ever want in weed products out here. It's amazing. I'm high all the time.
You're selling me. You're selling me.
Yeah. Please come out here. I'm
2
like,
days.
literally,
That's all I need.
everyone, please come tour out. Like, come visit me. I don't give a shit. You don't have to be on tour. But if you're on tour and you don't fucking stay with me, we're not friends. And I'll be pretty upset.
Everyone listening to this.
Yeah. I'm going to come to your show and I'm going to spit on your kneecaps. Yeah.
Careful, I spit back.
You're just a wild fucking drummer. You're just going to throw a stick at my face.
You've been to some shows. It does get a little gross. Al, I love you.
I love you
so much for taking the time to do this.
Thank you for asking me.
This was just as much fun as I knew it was going to be.
I'm so sorry about the beginning. Okay,
that was the best.
Something right now.
Yeah, sleepy puppy. Oh, baby George. Hi, George.
He's so good. Like, he's bad for like 5 minutes, and then he's so adorable and sweet for like 4 hours, and I love it.
That's how
I know that won't last for long.
It's the same with preschoolers and toddlers. Just in case anybody's ever wondering, I now have an almost preschooler, and he is evil and crazy for usually between 45 seconds to. I mean, I think he went pretty hard for 3 minutes today. But then he's just like the greatest joy of my life after that. After I've been slapped in the face like 19 times. And I'm like, I'm going to grab your arms, man. Like, come on.
Deflect.
Yeah. So, I mean, thankfully, I've learned to like just sit down and block it. But anyway, Al, thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Yeah,
Where can everybody find you online?
You can find me online, just pretty much on Instagram. I'm not really available on much else because I don't really respond. But I'm on Instagram under Al_Robinson_photography.
Dig it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Sarah. I really appreciate it. I miss your
God.
face. Honestly, I love you. Please come see me. I really
Oh my God. You just don't even know how bad I want to reach that phone and hug you. I love you so freaking much. Thank you for doing this. I had a blast. I hope you did
Me too.
Thanks everyone for joining us. And just remember, Hello, I Am Human is now available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So get your adorable little asses on there. Subscribe. Listen to my trailer with music by Fit DJC.
Yes.
And get it on there. And I think we're going to start dropping episodes on Monday. Monday seems like a good day to drop podcasts. So we're gonna drop.
People need it.
I think so.
A work day. People fucking need it.
That's what I'm thinking. Thank you for the vote of confidence. God damn it, I love you.
I got your back, boo.
Everybody have a great night.
Bye, Cyrus. Bye, everyone.